Hey guys, so quick Bitcoin update. What's next for the Bitcoin market? So overall, the market right now looks great, but in a daily perspective, we are still bearish. The 4-hour looks bullish, but the daily is still bearish, and the daily for me as a swing trader or as an analyzer, for me the daily is the most important time frame. So what's actually next for Bitcoin? So we have to be cautious actually here. So we are here right now at the resistance of, let's say, around 39k. We could have short positions stacked here, which I doubt, but it's still possible that we reject this level and just head down lower and form a lower high here and head lower to make lower low. Or we break above the zone. We break this counter trend line here, which makes us enter a buy zone again. And we continue to the upside towards 43,000, which for me is a key level to break above. Basically, it's not that difficult overall. This has to happen for me to become bullish. A break above 43,000, a retest would be nice to confirm that bulls are holding support and that we made our first higher low. And from there on, continuation to the upside, likely towards 51k and higher. That's the only thing that will make me bullish. 43k is the key level for Bitcoin to change its trend. As for now, Bitcoin does look great though, but we have to be aware of these resistance zones without a structure point being broken. So 43k for me is a key level. As for now, downside momentum is still more possible. And let's take a look at the weekly. This is the monthly, my bad. Here, the weekly. So overall, the weekly looks kind of good as well. We're holding support here on this structural point on the weekly, which we had to do anyway. We had to retest this point anyway. Now, good thing is we retested it, holding or showing signs of support. Here on the weekly, we see as well 43k remains its key level to break above. And from there on, we'll see. And this pattern is actually pretty interesting. This pattern might have like two outcomes. And I will show you why in a minute. So this pattern might or go like this, like in a channel, that we have possibly one leg to the upside towards its all-time high again, or maybe form a low new all-time high. And from there on, we could likely even fall down lower again towards these levels. God knows what will happen next. The only thing that we can be sure is that three things can happen here. Or we go to the upside, as I just told, or we break through this trend line and fall towards this trend line, towards 24, 25k-ish area, where we have another CME futures gap, which I already talked about on my story. And I don't know if I made a post about it, but I think so. And that would make us refill this CME futures gap. And then we possibly continue to the upside, or in the worst bearish case scenario, we break towards 25, 24k as well. And we fall lower, maybe towards its former all-time high, or even lower, towards a 10k. Now, a 10k, why do I target a 10k, which is a very, very bearish target? The only reason that I'm targeting 10k is not because of a technical perspective. It's more out of a CME futures gap chart. So let me bring up this chart so you'll understand me. I think it's this one. Yeah, perfect. So as you can see, we had a gap here on Bitcoin between 34.3 and 33.2. And we perfectly tilted T retested that zone, and we had a bullish reaction after filling in that zone, and we going higher as if for now. This is the thing, guys. CME futures gap on the weekly at least always get retested, always. Like you will not find a single gap on this chart that hasn't been retested yet on the weekly. It's always like that. always retest. And what we can see here is that we have another gap. Excuse me, this should be gone here. It's too confusing. But we have another gap here between 24.5 and 26. So it's likely to be expecting, and now I'm referring back towards, which I will show in a second again, towards the channel that I made for Bitcoin, this channel here. Oops. This channel here that I made on the BTC USD chart. It's not perfectly look-alike, but I think you know what I mean. So here are two things, as I said, could happen, or we continue to the upside, or we break through it. If we break through it, we retest the other gap, and likely all the gaps on the weekly are fulfilled, and then we'll see what will happen next for BTC. Will we hold support here? Will this be its newest low point and go higher, or will we break through? And then this is the reason why we have still a gap between 9.6, 9.8k roughly on the daily. On the weekly it's not as visible, but on the daily it is. So if you look on the daily here, it's a very, very minor gap. You see this gap here? It's very minor. And on the daily, price has a tendency to not always retest its gaps. It has a tendency. Now, mostly gaps do get refilled, don't get me wrong. If we look here at price, at all these gaps that were made, you see all these gaps got eventually filled as well. So we have to be aware that there is still a possibility for Bitcoin to hit a very, very low level due to the CME futures gaps. But of course, we can't assume yet till we actually see more bearish signals. As if for now, we're focusing on price action here, and overall price action does look good. So back to the normal Bitcoin chart. Only a few things can happen from here, and I'm excited to see what will happen. If this plays out as I think it will, there's likely to become another leg to the upside. Most likely even form a new all-time high before really heading into a massive bear market till a new Bitcoin halving roughly starts, and then the cycle repeats. For the people who know what I mean, like, it's a no-brainer. For the people who don't know what I mean, make sure to do some research on it, because it's pretty useful for you to know these type of tricks. Yeah, that's it, guys. Basically, nothing special to say. Overall, 43k remains the key level. 4 hour is looking bullish. Let's go to the 4 hour quickly. This is a 3 hour. 4 hour looking bullish, forming like a sort of what is it? Ascending triangle pattern here. If we do this and look here, Bitcoin forming like an ascending triangle pattern thing. So if this breaks through, we'll likely break above this resistance and continue our ride towards 42, 43,000. Let's see, guys. Right, thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.